Okay, so today I'm heading over to the Kilowatts to have a quick discussion with Ryan. How long have you had the Mach-E for?
7, 8 weeks now.
Oh, 7, 8 weeks. Wow, so like coming up to 2 months. Cool. I was wondering if I could come down there and kind of just like ask you what your favorite thing is about the Mach-E and what your least favorite thing is.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's pretty obvious that I'm heavily biased towards Tesla. I just freaking love Tesla. I think it doesn't make sense to purchase any other type of car if you're in that price point of $35,000. The best car that you can get, best product for $35,000 is a Tesla Model 3, in my opinion. But I'm curious to know what Ryan has to say, since he has like 4 Tesla Model 3s and a Model Y, and now he has a Mach-E. So I already know he's not so stoked about it, but I want to know, I guess, what his one positive takeaway from this car is, and then what his most negative takeaway is, and what he really dislikes about the car. And this is probably something that, you know, future owners should know. If you're considering to buy a Tesla or to buy a Mustang Mach-E, you should probably know what he has to say about it, because he knows a lot about these things. So, let's go. Hey, what's up, dude?
How's it going?
All right, so we're back. It's been 2 months, and you've had your Ford Mustang Mach-E for about 8 weeks. So I want to ask you, what do you think about it? Like, honestly, what do you love about it, and what do you hate about it?
Yeah, after 2 months, I've definitely got some strong opinions on it. It's a great car, but a very interesting car for Ford, so let's check it out.
All right, cool, let's go. Did you figure out how to change the steering wheel comfort level?
I don't think you can.
Really?
Yeah.
This thing is always so weird. Like, this is probably my least favorite thing about the car. That hook. Because you're supposed to hit the button, and you're supposed to open it like that. It's really annoying to me. All right. What's your favorite thing about this thing? About this car?
My favorite thing is how, a kind of a combination of how it looks and how it feels. Like, it feels very good. It feels very luxurious. It's very quiet, and it looks sporty. So, like, it looks cool and feels cool.
And do you think it's quiet because it's just more soundproofing, or?
Yeah. They've made a very soft suspension. It's very dampened, and it's very, especially in the front, there's a lot of sound dampening panels. It feels very quiet, very luxurious.
And what's your least favorite thing about this?
To be honest, like the phone app and the overall experience, especially with me, renting this car out, it's hard to like check in on the car. It's not as straightforward.
Right, so you just rented it out for the first time on Turo this weekend.
Yeah.
What was that experience like?
Overall, it was pretty straightforward. I didn't love, especially with my Model 3, Model Y, you just put the key card somewhere in the car and they have to find it. I put it somewhere obvious and it's very clear where that is. But with this, I had to lock the key fob in there, and if someone broke in, they could just start the car. There's no lockout in that way.
What about the pin? Doesn't it have like a pin?
It does have a pin, and the pin is harder to change. So I wouldn't want to cycle through different pins. There's 3 different ways to like get the car started, and that's great. But yeah, it's just, you can't share the phone app nearly as easily. I would love to just share like I do with my Teslas. If someone asks, I share access. And with the Ford, it's just not realistic. In fact, it's hard to even add it to someone else in your family. So unless they're using the same login, it's just not as straightforward. Whereas with the Tesla, I can add and remove people anytime I want. I could give you access to my Tesla right now, and you'd have it, and I can take it off anytime as well.
So you would say the UI is the biggest downfall of this car? What about the charging infrastructure? Like, compared to charging your Tesla versus using, this other network, what is that like? Because for me, it's like, I like the Tesla because I have the option to charge literally anywhere.
And I guess what I feel about that is a lot of people overplay that story because it isn't as good as the Tesla. You can't charge it everywhere, but actually you can't charge your Tesla everywhere. The CCS adapter doesn't really exist here in the United States, and CCS is where this primarily charges the fastest.
Wait, really? I don't have the adapter.
You technically can, but there's no certified adapter that I'm aware of in the United States.
What about the adapter that comes with the car?
That's not a CCS. That's a J1772.
I've never charged anywhere outside of a
Yes,
Tesla.
and that's because the Tesla supercharging network is so great. You shouldn't have to. They've put superchargers, especially here in California, everywhere you'd want them. And Electrify America has kind of followed on a lot of those locations. You know, a lot of like if there was like a tier of chargers, so Tesla got the greatest locations, and I would say Electrify America kind of got, you know, the B+ or A- locations. So they're very much available and nearby those same places where you charge your Tesla. They're just not as optimized. They're not right off the freeway. They're maybe a mile off the freeway. I want to go in here. I've got 123 miles of range.
Like, let's go to LA.
Yeah, so, well, first things first, it'll actually show me a physical limit of where it thinks I can drive. And
You can almost get to Reno?
I could almost get to Reno. It's gonna have me stop before then.
How much charge do you have? Where does it say?
Up here, it says both 123 and 55 up in the top left of my instrument cluster. A little bit further along, it's like in kind of the Tracy area, which is
theoretically
better.
you could do like right there.
Exactly, and that's where I really think they should
Pushing
optimize. Is that I'd rather push it. I don't know.
Yeah, so maybe there could be like a mode, you know.
But with Tesla, there's a way that you can like click and say, show me all the chargers, and I can just I can select the charger on the route.
Yeah.
Whereas this, it's not as clear where all the chargers are.
Right.
I can kind of filter it based on speed, fast charge only, which fast charge is pretty vague. 50 kilowatts is very different from 125.
Right.
So you might be there for 3 hours versus an hour. So they've engineered it to solve all the problems, but they've not made it a smooth integrated experience yet. The fact that I've got 50 chargers here is great, but I want to know which one is on my route and gets me the fastest there, and it doesn't quite do that for me yet.
So is that your least favorite thing? What is like your hands down least favorite thing?
That's it. The software is not as integrated as a Tesla, and that makes it less smooth to use. I don't care if the 40th supercharger is north of me when I'm heading south. And there's no clear way for me to just see all the fast chargers, 125 kilowatts and above, all at once. Like in a Tesla, it's there when I need it. It's very clear what I'm looking at. It's clear when I'm gonna get there, how many chargers will be available. This isn't there yet. And it's not because it's different systems. For America, it's EVgo, it's ChargePoint. That's a lot.
Why do you think somebody would get a Ford Mustang Mach-E?
Yeah. Because of its looks.
Like, well, strictly, right? I mean, like...
It looks like a luxurious car, and it feels like a luxurious car, and it's got the Mustang brand. It seems cool and sporty. That's why.
You think that's the only reason? Because they're technically the same price point, right, with the Model Y?
Yeah, it's a little bit cheaper after the tax incentives, so
right.
You might get it because it's comparable and also cheaper.
So, for a first-time EV buyer, they don't care about the looks. They ask you, hey, Ryan, what should I get, a Model Y or a Mach-E? What would you recommend, knowing what you know now?
At this time, I have to say a Model Y. Early on, you asked me that same question, and I was kind of saying, it's down to preference. Some people might like this because it's quicker, this because it looks sportier. I think that the Model Y is a better car, bar none, because this falls short by like a 10% in almost every way. It's got a smaller trunk, the Autopilot software.
Yeah, what do you think about the Autopilot? Have you used it much?
Yeah, Copilot 360 is very good, but it just doesn't have as many cameras. That's not, to define it, but like, for example, when I'm driving into direct sunlight, it can't rely on the other cameras to help center me in the lane. So I find that it gives up a little bit more often, and it also isn't as competent. And so it's a little bit weaker. It's not as deep in its integration, and so as a result, it doesn't succeed as much of the time, and therefore you can't trust it as much.
Does it change lanes for you?
It doesn't yet.
Okay.
Is it
supposed to?
In Q3, it should. I'm intending to probably hold on to the car through then, but if it doesn't improve in its reliability where you can just trust it, especially because it is supposed to be a hands-free system that they're rolling out in Q3. If it's hands-free, but you still need to jump on every 100 miles to grab the wheel, that's not hands-free in my mind. It's just...
Wait, it's supposed to be hands-free?
Yes, so it's going to use the little eye tracker here to make sure that you're paying attention, and then you'll be able to take your hands off the wheel like Super Cruise, for example.
What's Super Cruise?
Chevy has Super Cruise as well, which is another hands-free system, but hands-free makes it sound like it's a more competent system.
Yeah.
But it just means that.
Just means that it's watching your eyes.
Yeah, it's using different tools to monitor whether you're being present, alive, awake, and alert, whereas Tesla uses just torquing the steering wheel, meaning you don't have to be looking at the road, you can be looking anywhere, which is some ways good, some ways bad.
If you were a first-time EV customer and you were buying this car as your first EV, do you think you would have buyer's remorse?
No, because I wouldn't know how good the Model Y is.
Okay, let me rephrase that. So if you knew how good the Model Y was,
Then yes.
like for example, you bought it and your friend bought a Model Y and then you tried his Model Y, what would your thoughts be?
Yeah, I'd be jealous personally. You know, knowing how often you could really rely on Autopilot, where you're more monitoring it rather than driving. You know, seeing how integrated the charging is. This is a quieter car. It's almost more luxurious with some of the features, but what is luxury? I think luxury is convenience. And so while this feels like more traditional luxury compared to a Tesla, for what I want and what I think most people our age, generation want, is that convenience that Tesla gives.
Like I personally don't care about the leather
perforated,
stitching,
soft steering wheel.
I don't care about that. I don't care if the car massages me while I drive. Like I don't care about that level of luxury.
You just want to watch kilowatts.
I don't care about
exactly.
I don't care about decoration. I care about convenience and ease of use and just pure functionality, right? And the performance. My biggest concern is, it's not that I'm a Tesla fanboy. Like, yeah, that's true. I love Tesla, but my biggest concern is somebody who's never tried an EV tries an EV that's not convenient and then gets turned away from EVs.
And that's where that's where that charging part matters. That 80% cap. If they're going long distances and they experience that, that's really going to be the problem.
Exactly. Well, not only that, but yeah, I mean, it's just like the inconvenience of charging is really highlighted with this UI and this thought process versus Tesla's streamlined. Like it's like Tesla's truly like thinking about every detail and working their way backwards, right? So it's like, where's the most significant pain point? Where's the biggest, bottleneck? And that's charging. And so they built the infrastructure and they streamlined that. Like that's in the Tesla DNA in the car, right? Versus this is like, it looks like they just... It was an afterthought.
Well, and the reality is, it's billions of dollars to establish your own charging network, and to partner with these guys, it takes a lot. Plug and charge, what they're doing with Electrify America, is the right direction.
Yeah.
But then what happens when you unplug? How do you deal with billing? And there's a lot of other complications that come with not having your own complete network. And Tesla thought of that way, way, way ahead. And now you're gonna have everyone else having an experience like this.
Dude, thanks so much for the follow-up. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, you bet.
I'll see you later.
See ya.
All right, well, that was fun. I got to catch up with Ryan and kind of get his take of what he thinks of the Mustang Mach-E after owning it for 2 months. So, Ryan, thanks so much. I'll put a link to his channel in the description. And, thank you guys so much for tuning in. If you like this video, please gently tap that like button, and I'll see you tomorrow.